Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report Mailbag Edition. Now, these are all questions that were asked during our live show, which airs every Thursday at 4 Eastern right here on the channel. So if you want to ask a question, join the show, and boom, you'll be on screen like Josh Miller. Josh asking, who are one or two under-the-radar weapons in camp? Very good question. In fact, we can actually throw this question back at you guys in a little bit. But I go with two people right now. I'll go one on offense, one on defense. Michael Woods on offense makes a lot of sense. Has been jumping off the page. He has been one of the big highlight receivers so far. And with David Bell, Anthony Schwartz, Javon Wims, and Isaiah Weston all dealing with injuries, more reps to be had for Michael Woods. So that's my guy in offense. On defense, I'm going to go with A.J. Green, okay? Actually, no, I'll pivot from that. On defense, no, I wouldn't even go defense. Cade York. Guys, this is, knock on wood, this is Phil Dawson. Like, this is the real deal kicker. Cade York has been perfect from what I've heard so far in Berea. Next question coming in from IMJ36. What do you think the chances are that Deshaun Watson gets 6 games still, but they add a hefty fine? That is best case scenario. The NFL goes, listen, we're not even all that mad about the suspension. It's the fact that over last year and this season, Watson will only have lost $345,000 from his contract. That's bogus. We want to give him a $10 million suspension. $10 million fine. I don't think the chances are very high. If they're appealing it, it's because they want to appease to the public that's upset. And they're not going to make anyone happy if they appeal it, piss off the NFLPA by bypassing Judge Robinson and this new protocol, and then they actually don't end up even adding more games to the suspension. Not a lot was accomplished except for Watson's out $10 million. Question coming in from Chris Butts, always in the comment section. Appreciate you, Chris. With Njoku getting a new contract, does he have a monster year? The idea, I think the plan was Njoku will be Deshaun Watson's real first tight end. With no disrespect to Owen Daniels or Jordan Akins, but Njoku hopefully this year does take off. Right now, will Deshaun Watson be throwing Njoku the football all this season? Remains to be seen. Njoku definitely has to improve in not only his pass blocking, but his consistency across the board in receiving, not just having games like the Chargers game where he goes off and then he's kind of MIA for weeks at a time. Question coming in from Edward Joseph. Will the Browns look to sign a wide receiver now like Will Fuller? So back in free agency, I had said if Deshaun Watson gets a big suspension, I would like to see the Browns go out and sign a bigger name receiver. If not, if he doesn't get a big suspension, I am content with Deshaun Watson rising and improving players like Anthony Schwartz, DPJ, and a rookie in David Bell. If it's going to be Jacoby Brissett for a full season, yeah, Will Fuller looks pretty appetizing at this point, right? I mean, his issue has always been health. Now, hopefully, after sitting out for almost all of last season with an injury, that's just more time for him to be recovered and be ready to go this year. Now, the reports were that he was waiting to sign a little closer to preseason games here, but 8 touchdowns with the Texans back in 2020, a deep threat receiver, you could take all the star power you can get to help Jacoby Brissett. So, yes, I think signing a player like Will Fuller, if Watson gets a big suspension, would make some sense here. But I let you guys decide this. Sign a bigger name receiver. What do you think? Yes or no? I'm not talking about the signings of like, who? Oh, it's this guy who's a UDFA we've never heard of. No, I mean the T.Y. Hilton, Deshaun Jackson, Will Fullers of the world here. Let me know if you think the Browns should pursue that path. Question coming in from Poison Pill here. Maybe someone will do 2. Okay, so what we have going on during our live show right now is we've got an offer for a super chat, and new guy Patrick Seatman will do a $50 beer boot. But if you're watching this later and you want to do a super thanks of $50, we'll just start a future show off with Patrick Seatman doing a beer boot. So ball's in your court, guys, but love the idea, Poison Pill. Jack has our next question on the show. Would you want Fitzmagic to come out of retirement to play for us? No. I think Jacoby Brissett, I know. Here's the thing. Fitzmagic is best when he's unexpected, right? When he wasn't supposed to be there. That's when Fitzmagic is at his best, right? Like, it all started when Jameis Winston got suspended 3 games to start the 2018 season. I think it was 2018 or 2019, whatever it was, for the Bucs. And Fitzmagic came out week 1 and beat the crap out of the Saints in the Superdome. If Fitzmagic is told, you are the guy, that's when it's not a great Fitzmagic show. I like Fitzmagic off the bench for a couple weeks. Too long, it's not a pretty movie. Pro Biscuit with our next question. I still think we can sweep the Steelers. All right. Go half and half with Cincy and Baltimore. Okay. Beat the Panthers, the Jets, the Falcons, the Texans, the Commanders, the Dolphins, and the Patriots or the Saints to get the 7th seed with Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's 2 wins. That's 4 in the division. And then you say Panthers, Jets, Falcons, Texans, Commanders, Dolphins. 1 more is Patriots or Saints. That gets you 11. If I do my math right there. Yeah, the issue is, I think what you're not really taking into account is it's the NFL. It's a league of parity, right? May make sense on paper for some of those wins to happen, but then the NFL does what the NFL does best. It ruins your parlay, and you don't understand how it happened, but it just ends up happening, and it always feels like it's never your team that gets to pull off the upset. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo on the Browns does keep them a playoff contender, but I don't know if I can just count on all those wins happening with him. Another Jimmy G question coming in from Josh Miller. Bring in Jimmy Garoppolo and bring back Odell Beckham Jr., the season saved. I think there's a bit of sarcasm in bringing back OBJ. Listen, we've talked before about this. I'll keep it short and sweet. He's not going to sign most likely until middle of the season as he's rehabbing from that ACL injury. As for bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm all for it. Now, if you want to have your question on the next mailbag, it's really simple. Just hit that sub button. That way you guys never miss out on breaking Cleveland Browns news or just general news and rumors. Plus, you have an opportunity to interact with myself and get on screen when you hit that sub button. Ray Collins saying, Devil's Advocate, Cam Newton. No, we talked about Cam a couple of weeks ago, and boy, did I piss off Cam Newton Twitter. They are real, and they are mean. I don't think Cam is Cam anymore, right? Cam Newton, I would rather roll Jacoby Brissett after all off-season and training camp so far. I think tossing Cam into this might be a fun idea until it's in practice, and then it looks like Cam with the Patriots, and it's not what you thought it would be. Okay, Darko Petrovic with the next question on screen. What do you think about the Browns trading for Gardner Minshew? Now, that's not a bad idea, actually, because if you remember, Gardner got traded to the Eagles last year for relatively nothing, right? Like I say, bag of peanuts. It was a 7th or 6th round pick. Whatever. It was not a lot for a quarterback that I thought would go for a little bit more. So if Andrew Berry can wheel and deal and get Gardner Minshew for a 7th or a 6th, I'm in. I'm in for at least adding more competition to this camp, especially if they get news soon. It's Watson for a year and, case is closed. Well, let's add some more competition to the QB battle, not just the 2 Joshes. Patricia with our next question here. Who has been surprising in a good way at camp? All right, good question. Similar to the one we actually kind of started the show off with. So Michael Woods has been awesome on offense so far. I talked about Cade York, and let's go with A.J. Green. So A.J. Green, cornerback who has some competition above him. Of course, when you draft Martin Emerson, everyone kind of moves down a notch on the depth chart behind him. But last preseason, I thought he looked great. And that was preseason. I kind of got a little too drunk on it. The regular season rolled around, and that's, of course, when you get to see the real stars play, Newsome, Ward, Williams. But Green will be a player, I think, who might get some decent amount of time in the slot behind Newsome. I don't think Newsome is going to be an every single snap corner at the nickel position, as he's still making the adjustment to that spot here. So watch for Green, who's already had a really strong start to camp. Try and steal some reps at that slot corner position. But let me know what sleeper you guys are thinking about for this season. I'm glad we get a question where we can talk about real football. You know what I mean? Actual, because there's a season to be played. The Browns are going to play Week 1 in Charlotte on September 11th. I promise you that much. We don't know who all 22 starters will be. I know who 21 of them will be. Not the last one here. But let me know what your sleeper is. And hey, make sure you also follow us over on Rumble. We're trying to get to 4,000 followers. Now, if you don't know what Rumble is, it's sort of like YouTube, but it's got some awesome features that sort of separates it from YouTube right now. Like, you can do play in picture, which means if you want to have the audio going while you're on your phone, texting, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, you can do that on Rumble. So give us a follow at rumble.com/BrownsReport, or if you want to support the show in more ways than one than just subscribing, liking, and commenting, you can help us out by following us at Rumble. Jack, any news on David Bell? Nope, I don't have any news. I'm looking at my tweet deck right now, Jack. I'm sorry. I wish I had more news on David Bell, but he's on the PUP list. The initial rumor was a stress fracture from MKC. Haven't seen an update since then. I wish I had more news. Kevin Lamb, thoughts on Haslam selling a minority stake in the Browns to Tom Brady? Have him play, holy title, and hire Sean Payton. Kevin, this is a joke. You're trolling me. It's not nice. So, are you trolling the Dolphins is a good question. No, that wouldn't happen for a handful of reasons. I think the biggest one, and I hate to be the party pooper, I don't think Tom Brady's going to be on board with this. Would be pretty cool, though. All right, Zach, you're up next. What are the NFL going off? There's only one case left now. It's not about the case. In fact, never really was about the cases. I mean, the NFL didn't even bring in any of the women making these civil lawsuits against Deshaun Watson when they were doing their investigation, when they were meeting with the judge. They never spoke. None of them spoke to Judge Robinson. So it's more about they presented their facts and findings, primarily based on 4 cases. Now, they may have been settled. The NFL didn't care. They were alive and well at one point. And the judge ruled, based on these findings right here, you violated the personal conduct policy. That's damning because there's no getting out of that now here. So if you're thinking about suing the NFL, the Court of Appeals is going to go, what's the lawsuit over exactly? Because don't you have a U.S. district judge that already ruled he violated the personal conduct policy? The Zeke and Tom Brady ones were different because they hadn't been able to prove that they violated the personal conduct policy. It was just their word against Brady and Zeke's. Now you have a third party saying it. That changes things. Bass player 1966. Why do people like Minshew? I thought he wasn't very good. A little better than Rosen or Darnold maybe. So what's up with the fascination? I was sort of in the same camp of like, I don't like Gardner Minshew long term. But if you just look at his stats, and I know there's way more to it than just stats, but it might surprise you. If you did like a blind quarterback, stat test, you would probably not pick Gardner Minshew. He has been sneaky good. And in a season like this right now where the Browns have so much uncertainty at the quarterback position, I'm all for throwing dots, throwing them at the board, and hoping one of them hits the bullseye. Last question coming in from Edgar. Heard Trubisky and Pickett are sucking at Steelers camp. True? Yeah, it is true. The other day at Steelers camp, they did a goal line drill. Mitch Trubisky with the ones. They were 0 for 20 in scoring a touchdown. 0 for 20 in scoring a touchdown in the red zone. And here's the worst thing maybe. Pickett has looked like a clear and obvious third quarterback from what I've read. He's not even competing with Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky. He is way at the bottom of the depth chart. So, Steelers, they got it worse. If you hate the Steelers, because here's the thing, I don't want to hear a single word out of a Steelers fan for 2 reasons. 1, they wanted Deshaun Watson. 2, you should look into Ben Roethlisberger's Wikipedia. See what he was doing about a decade ago. Then give me a call. Spam F Pitt down in the comment section if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers as much as I do.